Where do I surf? PU versus Epoxy board. Any tips to get more vertical and how to pump faster? What board do you recommend for a beginner transitioning to an intermediate? Guys, welcome back to my channel. I finally hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. I can't believe how quickly my channel has blown up and how many of you like watching me surfing. So today I'm going to be answering some of the top surfing questions, plus a few questions you guys had about me. Let's get into it. Now for the first surfing question, I think over like 100 of you have asked me this. Where do I surf? The reason I don't tell anyone is because I don't want spots getting crowded. Even though my channel's small, I still get thousands of views. I don't want to be the cause of surf spots getting too populated. I'm really sorry, I wish I could tell you all. So Jake has asked me, what board do you recommend for a beginner transitioning to an intermediate? So a big mistake a lot of people make is going to a board way too small. You start off on like a big foamy that all it does is go straight. And then a lot of people will get their first fiberglass board and it's just way too small. They're not catching waves. So what I'd recommend is a board in between that with enough volume. It can still be a foamy. You just want a board that's easy to paddle into waves still, but then you'll still be able to maneuver and start learning how to do turns. But yeah, definitely don't get a board that's too small. So Jeffrey has asked me PU versus Epoxy boards. So I love both. PU boards, what I've discovered, they're really good for all conditions. Like if you want an all-round board, because they'll be good when it's onshore and windy and bumpy, but they'll also be good when it's clean and glassy. So that's definitely the best all-round board. Where an epoxy stands out is in small waves and glassy conditions. So when you get those really clean days, an epoxy just feels like a hot knife in butter. It just goes so well. So if you can, have one of each. If I had to choose one, probably PU, just because it's so versatile in so many conditions. So Archie has asked, any tips to get more vertical and how to pump faster? With the pumping, I'd highly recommend you get on a surf skate like a Smooth Star. I'll have to make a video on that soon, but there's plenty of videos out there. The basis is the extending and compressing and swinging your arms up to chest high level. But then with getting more vertical, I'm actually working with a few clients who are struggling. They've just always done cutback, so now I'm teaching them how to get more vertical. And one of the first things I say to them is getting the nose of your board pointing more towards the beach to ensure you're doing a deep bottom turn. Whereas people will often treat it like a cutback and their angle's just wrong from the bottom turn. So they're getting to the lip and they're like horizontal. That's not what you want. It's basically all rotation, but definitely looking where you want to go and pointing your nose more towards the beach and the bottom turn is definitely where I'd start with that. So Max has asked me, do I get weird looks with a GoPro in my mouth? Yeah, a lot of people do stare at me and I kind of hate going to crowded places just because of that. I've been doing it for almost a year now, so it doesn't really matter anymore. But yeah, definitely get weird looks. So someone's asked, when should I replace my surfboard and why do I get pressure dings where my front foot is? You should replace your surfboard, obviously, if it starts getting creases in it or it snaps, or usually you can tell the color of the surfboard will start going kind of like a yellowy brown color and it just starts feeling heavier. But boards should last, you know, a few years. When I was younger, I was on the same boards for years, pretty much until they broke or I grew out of them. I'd get like one a year max. Like you want to be on that one board mastering it. Unless it feels bad, then give it in, get a new one. But then why do you get pressure dings where your front foot is? So this is actually a good thing. I used to be really weird about that too. I'd be like, oh, I think I didn't let my board cure long enough, or I've just pushed too hard on my front foot. But those pressure dings from your front foot mold your foot into it. Another surf coach told me this, like when you're on a new board, it feels weird just how flat the surface is. But then once you're on a board you've already surfed on, you've already planted your feet into that board. So it feels so much more secure and comfortable. So it's actually a good thing. I wouldn't worry too much about it. It is annoying, like this board and all my other boards, after one session, they've just got the fattest dings. So my mate Jasper said, do more sessions with Duke and Jasper. I've done a lot of follow camps with them and they're just the funnest guys to be in the water with, so there'll definitely be more of those. Now a few questions about me. So just going to quickly introduce myself. My name's Noah Wallace. I live on the northern beaches of Sydney, Australia. I'm 20 years old. What do I do? So apart from the YouTube, I surf coach and do some little day trading stuff on the stock market. The first one is from Keto. Have I met one of my subscribers? I have actually. There was a guy I met in the car park and he came up to me and said, are you Noah's POV surfer? I actually put him in one of my videos. We surfed together a few times now, and so it was pretty funny. I've had a few more people, usually groms, but I've had some adults as well say, hey, I've seen your videos, man, keep it up, which is pretty cool. Next question. So when did I start surfing? I think I started surfing when I was about 9 years old. I used to bodyboard a bit, and then my best friend's dad said to us one day, if you start surfing, you'll get all the girls. So we started surfing, didn't get all the girls. Owen has asked me what age did I land my first air. So I think I was 11. Everyone was at the swimming carnival in high school, and I had the day off just down at my local and landed my first air, and I was just frothing. So I had another question, where do I see myself in 5 years? So that's actually a really good question. I don't know, to be honest. I'm currently still living at home, so I'll definitely be out on my own in the big world. I'd imagine myself traveling, making surfing videos, just spending lots of time with my friends, teaching people how to get better at surfing. It would be awesome to have like a program that teaches someone who's never touched a surfboard before all the way up to an advanced elite level. I just think that would be amazing, and it's definitely something I'd love to make in the future. So Jason has asked me, how often do I surf a week? Changes every week. When the surf's good, I'll try get out once a day, but on average, maybe 5 to 7 times a week. Now that I've hit 10,000 subscribers, what are my goals for the next year? I have a massive goal to get to 100,000 subscribers. Even if I don't hit it, I really want to bump up the quality of my content and just pump out as much as I can. And so you'll be seeing a lot more like coaching videos and stuff. I'm still developing a website for some online coaching. To have online coaching, grow the channel as big as I can. They're kind of the main goals, and to work with a few more brands. So someone else has asked, am I sponsored? I do have a board sponsor with a brand called Vibe Surfboards, which you would have seen everywhere if you've been following me. They loved, I guess, my future plans and stuff, so they put some faith in me, and now we've both grown heaps, and they're the best. Like, if any of you live in the Northern Beaches, like, definitely check them out. They're really underrated board brand, but they're awesome. Besides that, I don't have any other sponsors. Maybe one day in the future some other brands will work with me. Just gotta keep hustling and grinding on YouTube. So if I could surf anywhere in the world, where would it be and who would I surf with? That is a really, really good question. Again, I want to go somewhere really tropical in like boardies or something, just with perfect A-frame barrels, air sections. I've seen really good spots in like Indo, Sumatra, Papua New Guinea, even the Maldives would be amazing. Anywhere like that, I'd be happy. Who with though? So John Florence, Felipe Toledo, 100%. Ethan Ewing, Italo Medina would be so sick to see as well. Kelly Slater, Dane Reynolds, Mason Ho. Oh, that would be sick. But yeah, hopefully one day we can make it happen. And someone also asked if I could grab a beer with any surfer, who would it be? So probably be Kelly Slater. I just love to pick his brain, and you know, he's such a smart guy, obviously surfing and then business and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like he'd be really great to talk to, and he'd probably talk my ear off. And who is my favorite surfer? So all the ones I've just listed, I love, but John Florence, mate, he's just on another level. Felipe Toledo as well. I've really loved him. So someone's asked my favorite board to surf. So a lot of you guys won't know the models from Vibe Surfboards, but to me, they're performance small wave boards. So they're just that fun. They got a bit more volume. They're a couple inches shorter than you, and I just feel I surf so much better on those. I still don't think I found my magic board. The best one I think I've had so far could be my one with the black rails as an all-round board, and then the board with the bat on it is my best board for airs by far. Got this thing called Kevlar Core, which I guess is like spine tech, which makes the board lighter, and it's so light. Just going for airs, you feel so comfortable landing on it, whereas some of my heavier boards, I'm like, ugh, don't want to snap my ankles landing in the flats or something like that. Now, a few people have asked if I've been attacked by a shark or I've seen sharks. Yeah, I actually saw one yesterday, so that's pretty random. But I think the first shark, I hadn't seen one until I was like 15 years old, and then I saw two in the same session, only small ones. But I was duck diving a wave, and I look at this guy next to me and I'm like, did you see that? It was this little shark like in the wave. The biggest one I've ever seen was at Byron Bay, a place called Broken Head. Huge shark just going in between. There was like a group of maybe 5 little groms down the beach a bit, and then me surfing by myself, getting these glassy little waves, and I see this huge shark coming in for a fish like probably 20 meters away. And I'm like, okay, I'm going in. So that was pretty freaky. But then I went around the point and just kept surfing. The most recent one yesterday, I just stand up surfing along this wave and I'm just looking below me and there's this tiny hammerhead shark, probably like a meter long. But be careful, like if you're getting paranoid about sharks, happens to me all the time. If in doubt, don't go out. And someone's asked if there's any clips of me surfing when I was younger. So I don't really have any, but if I do, I'll pop some up on the screen. I think there's a clip of me surfing Crescent Head when I was like this tiny little like 13-year-old. The only young kid out there, just, you know, going along, getting like the longest waves of my life. In my head, tearing it up.
Did you see that? I saw that.
Everyone was just staring at me like, who is this little kid? So I've had a few people asking me, what's the biggest I've surfed, or why don't I see you surfing big waves? Biggest I've surfed was probably like 6 foot. It was freaky. This was up the coast at a spot called Salitos and Boomerang. They're both really big days. And then at DY Point, I got caught on the inside. I swear it was almost 8 foot. Felt like almost triple overhead. It was probably, I thought I was gonna die. The reason you don't see me surfing big waves on YouTube is, one, the GoPro, take it out above like 3 foot. I don't have a strap or anything for it, and it's just so much easier in smaller waves, and you know, it's hard to breathe with it. I don't actually surf big waves in general, to be honest. I've struggled a lot with anxiety and panic attacks out in the surf. I always hated it since I was young. I've got these memories of me almost drowning. This is like not even surfing, this is like swimming from a young age, which is weird. You're like, how's this surfer scared of drowning? Like, he's constantly in the water. But I guess I just go in when I'm comfortable now, which is probably not the best thing. It's definitely something I want to work on. Yeah, I've just had some really rough experiences, and yeah, I've just been kind of in a zone now of accepting I like small waves, so I don't even go out in big waves. It's hard because my whole life, all my mates, like, you know, I've been considered, I guess, one of the better surfers, if not the best, out of my friend group, but they all surf bigger than me, and they'll be like, oh no, why don't you come out? I think I'm like traumatized from a few experiences, but I need to face that, which I've tried, and it's just kind of made it worse. But I think I gotta keep building up smaller steps, practice breath hold training, swim in the ocean without my board, and you know, all these things. So I'm sorry you're not gonna see any big wave surfing of me anytime soon, but you can always watch Nathan Florence, Kai Lenny. Like, I've the utmost respect for all those guys. They charge so hard, and you know, maybe one day with the right training and stuff, I might be able to get there. You know, nothing's impossible. Mental health is such an important thing. You know, I've been talking to someone each month, to a psychologist, and it really helps. If any of you out there need to talk to someone, especially as a guy, like, you're seen as weak and all these things, but just opening up, like talking to people, helps so much. I really would recommend any of you struggling out there to do the same. And that perfectly leads me into this. So, friend's girlfriend has started this brand called Kind Society. It's about spreading positivity and awareness for mental health. They're partnered with the Black Dog Institute. I have friends who struggle with mental health. I struggle with mental health. You know, a lot more people do than we realize, and just, you know, asking how you are, sending a nice message to one of your friends, just checking up on people, letting them know you're there, the best we can all do. This brand hasn't sponsored the video or anything. It's just a really important topic that I'd love to support on my channel. And if you guys feel the same way, like, feel free to check them out. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you had any more questions, just leave them down in the comment section below. Otherwise, I think that's it from me. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Keep ripping.